In today's episode, we found out Superman is gay, Dwight Howard, and the world reacts to his story. LeBron James could and should join the victory party out there in San Antonio and be a Spur, tell you how that can get done. And I'm not trying to hate him, but I got something to say. Boston fans, Jason Tatum, there is one thing that might hold you back from an NBA title this year. Check it out. What's up, everyone? Another edition of Tricky Guy Sports. It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B. On today's episode, Dwight Howard is gay. The world reacts.
Don't be gay.
Yeah.
Don't be gay, Spark. Don't be gay.
That was basically their reaction. The Spurs have a victory, and I think LeBron should join them. I'll discuss that in just a little bit. But, I mean, let's get into it just overall. The NBA season is upon us right now, and some things have already come clear that are pretty obvious. Suns are good. Lakers are good. In the Milwaukee Bucks, by the way, who I told you, I mean, it should have been pretty obvious, but I mean, I did tell you, you know.
See, I done told you.
Milwaukee Bucks are just as good as advertised. Damian Lillard, 39 points in his debut, and even pulled out a little Dame time in their first game against the Sixers. Let me go ahead and get that little highlight up here for you.
Damian Lillard.
Step back.
Flies.
Take that. Clutch shot.
Damian Lillard doing what he does.
Doing what he does. And they beat the Sixers with Harden, MIA, and the whole thing. So, I mean, we've kind of got a clear picture, and in the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks are clearly one of the top two out there that is going to be the biggest threat and the most likely odds-on favorite to make it to the NBA Finals this year and probably win an NBA championship. The other team out there, though, is the one I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Jason Tatum dilemma. I want to talk about the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum here because there's an interesting thing, and I'm going to have to explain this a little, and you're going to have to just kind of ride along with me here. I think there is something good about being good at everything, but I also have a problem with a superstar like a Jason Tatum who is good at everything and great at nothing. And it's kind of it's an odd thing to bitch about. But to me, Jason Tatum, when I look at the Celtics and I look at their finals opportunities and I look at Jason Tatum, I have a good and bad take on the fact that he's good at everything, but he's great at nothing. Everything can shoot, pass, do the whole thing. I mean, Jason Tatum is that guy. Don't get it twisted. Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics, after their first game with Porzingis showing up, clearly look like also the other odds-on favorite besides Milwaukee, and arguably as a team, a better and more well-constructed, with experience together team than the Bucks at making the playoffs. And it really is going to come down to this guy who could be the MVP this year in Jason. Jason Tatum's a bad man, and I am not trying to dismiss everything he can do. This guy can score, this guy can dribble, this guy can pass. He's 6'8", he's 210. He's just 25 years old. And I do think, let's start off with the good news here as we look at Jason Tatum's little highlights. This is a bad boy, and he's only 25. So let's start off with the good stuff. As far as when it comes to Jason Tatum and what I want to discuss is that at 25 years old, he's still got a long ways to go, and you still have plenty of time. So at 25, Jason Tatum has made the finals. They were up 2-1 with Boston. They won they made it also to 2 Eastern Conference Finals as well. So a finals appearance and an Eastern Conference Finals appearance twice in 3 of the last 4 years. They've had a lot of success. And the other thing I want to point out here, and I'll point it out again, there's still time. At 25 years old, there is still time for Jason to continue to evolve and make his script go different. Because I've done this before, but there's a long list of the NBA champion, the legends, who did not even get a title till post 25 years old. Giannis Antetokounmpo did not get his first one until 26. Kevin Garnett, 32 years old. Dirk Nowitzki was 32 years old when he won his first title. Dr. J was 33 when he won his first title. Steph Curry was 27. Kevin Durant was 28. Shaq was 28. LeBron was 27. Michael Jordan was 28 years old. So Jason Tatum is still younger than everyone I just mentioned at 25 years old, as somebody is still on a road and an opportunity to win an NBA title. At 25, he is still younger than Giannis, KG, Dirk, Dr. J, Steph, Kevin Durant, Shaq, LeBron, or Michael Jordan before they ever won their first. And like I said, they did just make the finals in the last couple years, and they also have made it to 2 Eastern Conference Finals in 3 of the last 4. So since 2016, as I'll continue the good news when it comes to Tatum and the Boston Celtics, they also have now won the second most amount of playoff games of any NBA team. Since 2016, the Boston Celtics are second out of everyone in games won in the playoffs, only at 61, only the Golden State. They are also number 2 in regular season wins since 2016, only second to the Milwaukee Bucks. So they made Eastern Conference Finals, they've made finals appearances, they were up 2-1. Jason Tatum's only 25 years old. They've had more playoff appearances and regular season wins than only one other team in the entire NBA since 2016, but they are also the only team, there is no team in history who has had more playoff wins in and playoff games in a 7-year span and has not won an NBA title. I want to give you that one more time. The Boston Celtics have now made history in the NBA, as they have been the only team in the last 7 years to win this many and appear in this many playoff games and have not won an NBA title. So that's a bad historical, unfortunate, all the good stuff we just listed. That's a bad one to put on the list there. They are now, in the last 7 seasons, they have appeared in more playoff games than any team in NBA history who has not somehow ended up with an NBA championship. So they got their new shiny 6-7 man rotation with their great trades, and I thought those were phenomenal trades. I thought Marcus Smart for Kristaps Porzingis, I said from the beginning, getting away from small ball is a great thing, and also I think Marcus Smart is just heavily overrated, if I'm just keeping it a buck. I also think that bringing in Drew Holiday the day before training camp was an absolute miracle, unbelievable move by the Boston front office to go ahead and get that done, to where now their top 6-7 rotation is honestly the best in the league overall, in my opinion. When you look at Porzingis, Drew, Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Horford, Pritchard, this is now, the playoffs does shrink down to a 7-8 man rotation. Their 7-8 man rotation is arguably the best in the league. This is a team that's got a ton of experience, and, they really do have a nice 2 to 3 year window here, Boston does, in order to go ahead and finally get over the hump, as they've had a lot of struggles to get their NBA title. Now here's some of the bad news. The bad news is that 2 to 3 year window really is about a 2 to 3 year window. Unfortunately now, with the new salary cap that was agreed to by the NBA that'll be instituted here soon, in 2025-26, the Boston Celtics are going to be in a situation where only 4 guys, the 4 guys that they currently have under contract, will already most likely max out their salary cap, and they will still have 11 roster spots to fill. I want to repeat that so you guys in Boston can understand me wicked hot here. This is going to be a difficult situation. In 2025-26, the Boston Celtics are going to be a team that is going to have only 4 guys under contract, and those 4 guys under contract by themselves are probably going to fill out your salary cap roster at about $146 million, and you're still going to have 11 roster spots to fill. You're going to have to make moves. You're going to have to do things. It's not going to be a very long window. But you do have right now, as probably the odds-on favorite in the East, and also just with everything you have constructed, the moves that you've made, a beautiful 2 to 3 year window after getting very close, multiple Eastern Conference Finals appearances, a Finals appearance where you're up 2-1, and all that put together, it looks like a very good run here the next few years. The Boston Celtics should be, for the next, time in the foreseeable future here, the odds-on favorite out of the Eastern Conference, other than the Milwaukee Bucks. However, it's all going to come down to Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum at the end is the head of your snake. He's the leader of your team. I know a lot of people want to say Jaylen Brown, and I think Jaylen Brown's a very good player. But when we talk the possible MVP candidates, when we talk about a guy who could, at still 25 years old, move into that upper echelon, is considered one of the top 3-4 consistently players in this league, you got to go with this guy. You got to go with Jason. And my problem with Jason, and I think what we need to discuss with Jason, is what do you do? And I don't mean it as a diss. I'm saying, what exactly, when you think of Jason Tatum, I think of Office Space a little bit. What would you say you do here?
What would you say you do here?
If you're a Jason Tatum fan, if you're a Boston Celtics fan, if you're Jason Tatum itself, I am being honest here in my analysis of saying, like, you're good at everything and you're great at nothing. And I'm sorry, I don't think that's a recipe for overall success. Jason Tatum is a lot of good things. Again, at his height, at his age, athleticism, skill set, he is currently averaging 30 points a game last season. Last season, he averaged 30 points a game, 8.8 rebounds, and 4.1 assists. He shot 47% from the field and 35% from threes. He was one of the best players in the league and is currently an MVP candidate this year. So again, 30 points a game, almost 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 35% and plus always from threes. Great shooter, great scorer. Jason Tatum does a lot of good things, as I'll show the highlights again. This is a bad man. I am not trying to dismiss that Jason Tatum does not have everything you should have overall to be a great player. But the Jason Tatum dilemma is much like the Paul Georges of the world. There are just certain guys that when I look at you and I watch you overall, I ask, what is your identity and what do you say you do here?
What would you say you do here?
Again, as great as it is, 30 points a game, 8.8 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 35% from threes. Do you know Jason Tatum, as we look at this, is not in the top 5 in any major category last season? Go look this up. Jason Tatum, as good as he was not top 5 in points. He was not top 5 in rebounds. He was not top 5 in assists. He was not top 5 in blocks. He was not top 5 in steals. Matter of fact, even 3 points made and triple doubles, he was definitely not at the top of the list. You know why? Because Jason Tatum did not even have a single triple-double last year. Jason Tatum's triple-double point total last year for the season?
0.0.
Jason Tatum, as good as he is, his numbers as great as they are, and everything else, and is looking at his Boston as good as they are, is not top 5 in points, rebounds, assists, steals, triple-doubles, didn't even get 1. He's not top 5 in three-pointers made. He's not top 5 in any statistical category. So again, I'm going to ask and repeat this question as a Boston fan looking to, make that next move. What is Jason Tatum's identity? What would you say he does here? What is the thing that makes him beyond, everybody else? Because when I think of the champions, I think of the legends, and you go down the list, I can name each one. I can give you something that gives them an identity to where they're not just good at everything, but they're great at something. Steph Curry was a great shooter. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, one-on-one isolation, leading scorer types, clutch killers, isolation nightmares. Magic and LeBron made their teams better. Their size and their ability, their athleticism too, to be able to play point guard at their height and size was always just a nightmare, but also assist guys make their teams better. Giannis, Wilt, Shaq, I think of dominance. I think of the idea that the physical freakness of their nature, along with their guard-like skills, makes them almost impossible to guard, always leading the league, at points and rebounds. I think of like Bill Russell, Kawhi Leonard. I'll throw in even Jimmy Butler, defensive dogs, going to get on you on that side of the ball. May not be great at everything, but on the defensive side, when all things are considered, they're going to be a top 1 or 2 player every year in the league. You think of all the white boys, throw them all in. Bird, Luka, Jokic, Dirk. You think of size, unmatched skill set combined. You think of shooting. You think of triple doubles galore. Everybody on that list I just mentioned. Bird, Luka, Jokic, Dirk. One thing I can identify is that they're going to just control the entire side offensively on the floor. They're going to get points. They're going to be able to hit outside shots. They're going to be fundamentally sound. They're going to be able to get rebounds. They're going to be able to get assists. When I think of Steph, I think of the greatest shooter in the world. When I think of MJ, Kobe, or Kevin Durant, I think of one-on-one isolation scoring nightmares that can take over a game by themselves. I think of Magic and LeBron. I think of great players who also make their teams better through assist and unselfishness. I think of Giannis, Wilt, Shaq. I think of physical dominance. I think of Bill Russell, claw. I think of defense. I think of the Bird, Luka, Jokic's. I think of size, skill set, and everything else. What do I think of when I think of Jason Tatum? I think of a guy who's good at everything, but what exactly does he do?
What would you say you do here?
Is he a top 5 scorer in this league? No. He's a good one. He's a great scorer, but he's not been top 5 ever in NBA history. Is he a guy who consistently makes his team better? He can. He has his moments. He does a lot of good things. But can I say he's a guy who's a shot creator for other people, or someone who's able to Bird or, LeBron or Magic-like be able to make his team better? Not really. Is he an athlete? Absolutely. Jason Tatum's an amazing athlete, as we can watch these highlights again. Unbelievable player. Is he the most athletic? Is he dominant like a Wilt, a Shaq, or a Giannis, someone who's just able to command with his athleticism? Not really. Is he clutch like Kobe? Is he one of those guys who's able to take over in the fourth quarter? Well, he's had his moments. Is he a triple-double machine? No. I mean, he has the ability to, but matter of fact, just last season, he actually got 0 triple-doubles the entire season. If you're Boston and you're looking to get over the hump, you really have to answer this question and not just be a fan and not just hate on me. And I understand it's a weird complaint to have. But when I look at Tatum trying to make it to the next level at 25 years old, trying to now hit because he still has time, as I've mentioned, the window of players I've mentioned, Giannis, Garnett, Dirk, Dr. J, Steph, Kevin Durant, Shaq, LeBron, MJ, were all later than 25 years old. He is still on the cusp of getting there. He's a 30-point per game scorer, and almost 9 rebounds and 4 assists, a good shooter, good overall skill set. He has his moments where he leads. There's moments where he looks like a guy who can take over games. He had a 51-point Game 7. He has shown me flashes, but I'm still waiting, and I'm wondering what exactly makes him that guy. The way shooting made Steph that guy. The way, making teams better made LeBron and Magic that guy. The way scoring and clutch made Kobe and Jordan that guy. The way triple-double threats consistently make Jokic, Bird, Luka, and those guys that guy. What makes Jason Tatum that guy? What would you say he does?
What would you say you do here?
Everything good. Everything above average. Great at nothing. I don't like it. I think until he finds that identity that makes him something special, even if there's other parts where deficiencies. And if I have to be, at least try to make a prediction, I would say scoring. I think he could be a takeover level scorer, but he's got to get it up here. He's going to have to get a little bit more moxie, swag. He's going to have to start understanding that he is Jason effing Tatum and that he's one of the top 3 or 4 guys in this league. He can't just say it out loud. He can't just have flashes of it. He's going to have to prove it. If there's something, a role he can get into, I don't ever think he'll be a great creator. I don't ever think he'll be a great, he's a good defensive player, but I don't think he'll ever be defensive player of the year. He's athletic, but he's not athletic enough to make it to where he's going to be able to dominate just, by just sheer force alone, like a Giannis. He's going to have to become with that Kobe, MJ level scorer, and he has the ability. He can do everything, but he can also not excel really at anything. Just a thought. Early thought on Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. I still, by the way, do have you guys as the overall, besides Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, it's 1 and 2 out there in the Eastern Conference. And arguably, he doesn't have to be the Jason that I want him to be in order to get the title, because just the additions alone of Drew and Kristaps are going to be able to take pressure off and be able to spread the ball out more so they can win a title, much like the old San Antonio Spurs kind of did when Duncan got older, the Detroit Pistons with Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton in that group. He doesn't have to be that guy, but in order to be that guy, I want to see him start becoming a top 5 something at something. You have to be the greatest in this game at something in order to be one of the greatest of all time. What would you say he does?
What would you say you do here?
All right, so I'm done with that little rant there. I want to move on now to the San Antonio Spurs, and I want to make a point here. First of all, man, Victor Wembanyama, again, is proving everything that we have been asking him to prove. His debut against the Dallas Mavericks was absolutely phenomenal there. It was a lot of fun to watch. I do have some early thoughts on that, and I also want to make a point about where he should go, as once again, you guys are killing me here with the being late on this bandwagon. I do think there is something that needs to be added to San Antonio, and it's actually, I'm just going to say it, LeBron James. But let me explain that here in just 2 seconds. First of all, I want to start off with, again, he had his debut. It was record ratings. It was unbelievable. Yes, he got in foul trouble, which, by the way, was more than just a little bit annoying. God dang it, you stupid refs. I swear to God. Now, we ended up seeing just a 16-point night, but he did have a nice flurry at the end, and he's just an absolute freak as we watch Victor Wembanyama here in his season debut. He kind of clung to the three-point line a little bit, and that was a little bit frustrating as someone watching the game. Like, he still needs to figure out how to use his size a little better. But if you're watching here on YouTube, or if you just watch highlights of the Game 1 success that he had, obviously the pick and roll and being able to catch lobs is going to be something that's just almost impossible to stop. But really, his ability to play guard-like and have a rhythm-type shot. See right there? That's a rhythm shot. When I say there's form shooters and rhythm shooters, this is what I'm talking about with Victor. Watch that again. As I say, he's a rhythm. See how it's kind of off the bounce and he's got a flow going? That's when he's going to hit his outside shots. And he's going to be heavily inconsistent. But at 7'4", 19 years old, and it looks like he's already put on weight, he is absolutely that guy. And he had a nice flurry at the end of the fourth quarter. A couple things I want to bring up before I move on to why I think they'll have a certain somebody join them next season, or at least it's a hell of an idea. The referees. You guys are unfreaking believable. This was a game that we had all anticipated for a very long time, and arguably one of the biggest debuts in any sport in almost history, and the TV ratings proved out to be that way. So in case you missed it, they did set a record rating. I'll go ahead and put this up here. The nightcap of the opening day for the NBA, where Victor Wembanyama averaged nearly 3 million viewers at the Dallas Mavericks when they were defeated by the San Antonio Spurs, or the Mavericks defeated them. But it peaked at 3.9 million viewers at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's up 83% from last year's comparable game, and is the most watched season opening ESPN late game since 2012, excluding Christmas Day. And it's the most watched Spurs or Dallas Mavericks regular season game ever on ESPN. This was an historical night, even in the building. It was opening night in San Antonio. There was over 200 media members from 8 different countries. Everyone was anticipating this whole thing, and then these unbelievable referees decided to call 5 fouls, and he only got to play 16 minutes in the first 3 quarters. Are you flipping know your role? Know your role. Referees, I don't care what we say. I don't care what anyone says out loud. This, in the end, we have all had a lot of tinfoil hats about referees and the NBA and the collusion and cheating and all that. There's no way as a commissioner I am ever going to accept again. The next time we get a generational talent on our opening night, where there is record amount of viewers, there's 200 media members in the attendance there from 8 different countries, and the entire world is watching. It's the most watched Spurs or Mavericks game ever in ESPN recorded history, and we're setting all sorts of records. Am I ever going to allow y'all again, even if he did do it, to call 5 fouls early on him and let him only play 16 minutes the first 3 quarters? Shame on you. Shame on you. I'm sorry, referees, just, you know better. I don't care what everyone says. You know better than that, than to call 5 on the guy that we all came out here to watch. NCAA tournament pays for this multiple times because they need to add an extra foul in the tournament, in my opinion. When the stars go out, we start tuning out. That really was a big frustration in the game there, was not being able to see Victor a little bit more early. But we got 81 to go. Here's the more important thing here that I saw with Victor. After those 3 quarters, after he struggled to be able to stay on the floor because of these stupid-ass referees not knowing the bigger picture and understanding you don't call 5 on the guy we're all here to see. The bigger thing was in the fourth quarter, he did have an unbelievable ending to that game. No, they did not win the game, and they're not going to win a lot of games because they're young and they're immature and they're going to make a lot of bad mistakes, and that's going to happen. But what I saw with Victor is knowing he's the one and understanding he's the one. I think most of us, hopefully if you're out there and seen The Matrix, you should know what I'm talking about here. There's a quote in there where Keanu, in the very first Matrix, is trying to figure out if he's the one. He's been told he's the one. He's been, explained to him. He's starting to see glimpses of it. And so they go to the oracle, the psychic, the truth teller, to find out if he's the one. And he's asking her about this question. And she gives him a very straightforward answer that I think was something I saw in Victor, and it's something that you can't teach. The oracle says, quote, "You see up there that sign? It says know thyself. It's Latin. It means know thyself. I want to tell you a little secret. Being the one is just like being in love. No one needs to tell you you're in love. You just know it, through and through, bone to bone." The sports world is no different. Being the man on a team is no different. At some point, you just have to know you're the one. You can't explain why you're the one. You can't really always justify why you're the one. You just got to know thyself, and you just got to know it through and through, much like when you know you're in love or anything else. You just know who you are, and you just have that moxie, and you just have that swag. What I saw at the end of that game is something Spurs fans, as much as we've talked about everything else, his size, his ability, his all the other things that he does, and all that stuff is great. The main thing I saw with Victor was after having all that foul trouble, and at the end of that game, he knew he was the one. He had 9 points in 3 minutes and was asking for the ball. His first game ever, all the world watching, and instead of being nervous, Victor was out there like, yeah, I'm that guy. Give me the ball. I know I have barely played today. I know it's my first game. I know I should be nervous, but damn it, I'm that dude. I know thyself. I know who I am. I know I'm the dude. I know I'm the future. And that's something you either have it or you don't. There's really no way to explain it other than you know it when you see it. And I saw it with Victor. Victor clearly understands who he is, the big picture, and where his future lays. And he has the ability, he has the moxie, and he has just the understanding and just the overall just huevos to say at the end of a game, in his very first game at 19 years old, in that little 9-point flurry where he was absolutely dominant and showing the signs of what we're going to see going on later, that damn it, I am that guy. He knows who he is. So that's the great news when it comes to San Antonio. Here's the one thing I want to bring up, and something I do think is an absolute necessary possibility, something that should happen, something that could happen. I thought I'd send it to myself, but that's all right. Go ahead and Google this. I am just starting to see reports finally, after I've been screaming this for months, by the way, that they're finally becoming aware of the whole LeBron is going to leave LA thing. That is not just a possibility, that is going to happen. I tried to tell you all this months ago, and, when a podcaster tree falls in the wood and no one hears it, how much can I brag about it? But still, the fact is, you can go and Google and look up my stuff here. I have been screaming this for months, that LeBron is going to leave L.A. because he's following Bronny, and you don't have the draft picks in Los Angeles in order to keep him. You don't even have a first-round pick for, the next 3 years, and I think you have, 1 second. And so Bronny, after this year at USC, even with his heart condition and everything, there is still a strong possibility that he's going to be drafted and be a one and done in the NBA next year. And there are finally articles going oh man, what are you going to do when LeBron leaves? No. So, whatever. Told you guys, tried to tell you.
See, I done told you.
Google my work on that. You could find that out. But still, the bigger point here, and I'm going to repeat this one. I've said this before. If you're the San Antonio Spurs, I have heard a lot and seen a lot of good things about Victor. Again, knowing who he is, being able to accept that I'm the man, this is my team and his new role, and not being afraid of the spotlight is huge. Obviously, the skill set and ability to already put on some weight and muscle and show a good work ethic is also great when it comes to somebody you hope is the franchise guy going forward. What does he bring, overall? Does he have a good attitude? Shows like he does actually have a good attitude. But analysts are even saying this after the first game, and you're hearing this more and more. He needs a mentor on that team, on that very young team besides Greg Popovich. That Victor, for all the good stuff that he has, could use somebody to kind of guide him through something that is pretty much almost impossible to, unless you have been through it, truly understand. Victor has the world watching him and San Antonio praying for him like he's the second coming. It's been very rarely seen. So he doesn't just need a good teammate. He doesn't just need a wise man as an old man as a coach. He could use a real mentor. And so I ask you, with all the writing on the wall, San Antonio Spurs, LA Lakers, I know you guys hate each other, so none of you are going to like this solution. But LeBron is leaving Los Angeles. Even though Bronny has his heart defect and he's had surgery and everything else going on, it looks like there is still a possibility. Mock drafts are still showing that Bronny will be available in next year's draft. LA Lakers do not have the draft capital. They're not going to be able to trade for the draft capital to get a pick for him. If you're San Antonio and you have the next guy, and the one thing that he seems to be missing is a mentor who can show him the ropes, that's not a coach but a player, and understands what it's like to be called the chosen one, what it's like when the whole world is praying that you're the second coming, the pressure, the kind of isolation and loneliness that can come with that, the jealousy from other teammates. How does it not make sense then? Because the San Antonio Spurs, I want you to pay attention to this part, have anywhere from 5 to 6 first-round picks the next 2 seasons. I want to repeat that. The San Antonio Spurs, thanks to all the moves they have made, waiting for Victor to come, and now that they have him, have anywhere from 5 to 6 first-round draft picks in the next 2 years. If there is any team who can quote-unquote waste a pick on a guy because it brings the mentor, the only mentor that makes sense in LeBron James, the San Antonio Spurs can do it. So ignore the past, ignore the Spurs-Lakers rivalry, ignore all the other stuff. If you're a fan of Victor in San Antonio, and you are being told repeatedly that he needs somebody to show him the ropes, and you have the opportunity because he's connected to his son. It's getting more discussed now, but it's been discussed plenty, that LeBron will follow his kid. And you have 5 picks in the first round the next 2 seasons. Why would you not use one of those on the very high risk that Bronny might never play a game? Who gives a shit? You're going to get LeBron to mentor Victor for the next couple years. How do you not make that move? Why would you not make that move? Seriously, I'm asking you, why would you not make that move? I'm here. I'm curious. By the way, LeBron loves Popovich. He's had some good times in Texas. He is more than, if there's anyone who doesn't care about rivalries and leaving and moving from team to team, it's LeBron. If there's anyone that could mentor Victor and understand what he is going through, it's LeBron. If there's any mentor who is clearly able to get, and all you have to do is use a draft pick on his kid to get him, it's LeBron. And if there's any team who has draft picks to waste, it's the San Antonio Spurs with 5 or 6 in the first round. How is this not all just a beautiful package to where you'll see LeBron and Victor next year, you'll see San Antonio make some leaps this year, and the next thing you know, the next couple of years, you'll have Victor, the thing that you've been praying for, the thing you've been hoping for out there in San Antonio. You'll raise another title, you'll start a whole new franchise, and between LeBron and Victor and Bronny and whoever else is on the team, you'll attract more free agents. Texas has no state tax. San Antonio's a great crowd. This is the perfect way to kickstart. Now that you've had this holy hell kickstart in Victor, and you've gotten the guy that everyone said he is, and he might be more, you bring in the guy that was him before to show him the ropes. You take your team to the next level, and the next couple, 3 years, you just sit back and just wait as everyone comes begging to be on your team, and then you go on another 19, 18-year run, whatever it was, like San Antonio had before, and you start, the franchise 2.0. I think it's brilliant. I think I'm right, and I think I'm right. Even though I know Spurs, Lakers fans are going to be like, LeBron, Spurs, I hate them. It's a perfect match. It's a perfect marriage, and you know it is. All right, let me move on to one more thing here, and this one's sad. This one's kind of sad. Superman says he's feeling super, but we're not so sure in Dwight Howard. Superman says he's super.
I'm super.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Dwight Howard, Superman, feeling super. This is kind of a tough topic, and I don't want to make too much fun of this because it is kind of serious and it is sad. Dwight Howard is gay. We've come to find that out. I don't think that's a huge deal. I'm not one of those people who really gets that freaked out by this type of stuff. I guess in the worlds I've been around and the places I've been and seen, I've seen a lot worse than just, I know a lot of people, I guess, aren't exposed always to having gay friends, family members, people, whatever. But being gay doesn't bother me, really.
Don't be gay. Don't be gay, Spark. Don't be gay.
It clearly bothers the sports world still. It clearly bothers a lot of people who were on the Dwight Howard bandwagon for a long time. It clearly bothers the league as the cases now come out to try to figure out maybe does he ever have a comeback in his future. But just in case you missed the whole story here, it's a pretty interesting one. I will say that. Oh, Lord, is this quite the story? If you haven't heard it, let me tell you the Dwight Howard story that just came out last week.
Yeah, okay. Here's the story I'm going to tell you. It goes a little something like this.
All right, so Dwight Howard, former, great player. 8-time All-Star, slam dunk champion, NBA champion from 2020, 5-time rebounding leader, 2 times block leader, defensive player of the year, one of the greatest centers to ever play the game, has been accused and in a very odd situation by this guy who says that he was assaulted and imprisoned and all sorts of stuff and was asking for money and all sorts of things because Dwight forced him into a sexual relationship. Now, Dwight has denied those allegations, and he said he's done nothing illegal. And it looks like he's done nothing illegal. But he did admit that, yes, I did have consensual sex with this man, and also there was involved a man named Kitty, and it was like this weird 3-way situation. It was a very strange, very odd story where Dwight had been texting this guy for a while online. He finally invited him out to his house in Georgia, and the guy said, I went to the house after we had been sexting back and forth, and the next thing you know, he brought in another dude. This guy was named Kitty, and then Dwight Howard and Kitty were starting to be very sexual with me and being very forceful, and then Dwight apparently tried to give him oral sex, and he said, I didn't even want oral sex, and And then the next thing you know, Kitty was having sex with Dwight, and it was this whole thing, and it was this big old, like, oh boy, it was just a lot of things that made a lot of people have a hard time, understanding the story. But Dwight's side of this, just so you know, his side of the fence is that, okay, a lot of this stuff happened, but there was nothing forced. But he is openly admitting now, yes, I've been sexting the dude, and yes, I had sex with that guy, but it's all consensual. So, there's really no debate anymore. You can do what you want with that information. Dwight Howard, NBA legend, is gay. Okay? What's sad about this, and why I bring it up, besides I'm sorry, it is interesting. It reminds me of the Joker from The Dark Knight. As I've been quoting movies today, let me put this movie quote up. It's not according to plan. And I'm going to ask an honest question here in a second. I wonder if Dwight Howard had just been sexually mistreating women or assaulted someone or committed a violent crime. Would y'all be more okay with that because it's according to plan? Do y'all remember this from The Dark Knight? The Joker has a great speech where he is talking to Harvey Dent at this point, trying to explain who he is and why he does what he does. And he says, quote, "Nobody panics when things go according to plan. Even if the plan is horrifying. If tomorrow I tell the press that like a gangbanger is going to get shot or a truckload of soldiers will be blown up, nobody panics because it's all part of the plan. But when I say that one little old mayor will die, then everyone loses their mind." So basically his point is like, dude, people are used to gang members dying. People are used, as tragic as it is, to soldiers dying. But if I say I'm going to kill just one little mayor, this entire city they just go nuts on me.
Well, then everyone loses their
because
minds.
That's not according to plan. I kind of wonder, and it's sad, but it might be true with this whole Dwight Howard thing. It's not that it's really that salacious because the guy's it's not really that big a deal. I think we know that there are gay athletes now in professional sports, or maybe we don't.
Don't be gay. Don't be gay, Spark. Don't be gay.
But the fact that seems to have caught in so much attention and and received so much negative and kind of childish feedback is interesting to me, to where I wonder if he would have done something more, quote, according to plan, like assault a woman like Kevin Porter Jr., who just, that just happened recently, or just mistreated women, or done something sexually deviant or violent or whatever else. That, as tragic as that is, we're used to that. But he had gay sex with some guy and a dude named Kitty?
Don't be gay.
We can't handle
Don't be gay, Spark. Don't be gay.
It's an interesting question. I'll show you this. Stephen A. Smith was trying to talk about it. And this is what I'm talking about as far as like the odd, almost childlike response as Stephen A. was on his podcast trying to tell the story. Look at Stephen A. just absolutely act like a 10-year-old when he tries to describe, because there's still that homophobia. There's still a lot of those issues, man, that still are just deep embedded in the sports world and Joe Sixpack sports fan. Check this out. Stephen A. is trying to discuss the Dwight Howard story, and he acts much like I would think a 12-year-old reading the story.
Oh, this man, his name is Kitty, and he began performing oral sex on Dwight Howard, and Howard said he felt uncomfortable and didn't want to participate. I can't do this no more. He said Howard tried to touch his thigh and stoked his privates through his underwear. And stop! I can't. I just can't. I can't do it. Stop, get rid of it. Stop it. Get it off the screen. Get it off. Look, y'all.
Was that really that bad? Was that really necessary to be like, don't, I can't handle it? Yeah, you would just, I know Steven has talked about other issues, as far as, I've seen him flirt with women on the air. I've seen him do a lot of things that are towing the line or talking about social issues and other stuff. And boy, does he act kind of, again, like a 10-year-old, doesn't he? Doesn't he kind of act like a child here?
I can't do this no more. He said Howard tried to touch his thigh and stoked his privates through his underwear. And stop. I can't. I just can't. I can't do it. Stop, get rid of it. Stop it. Get it off the screen. Get it off.
I mean, is that really, was it? I mean, it's weird. I'll give you that. Kitty and a dude and a three-way and all that other stuff. But does it really require this reaction that he's given there? Is that not maybe something a little bit underneath there? Some homophobia and some other stuff there. So look, I really, again, I don't get riled up about this stuff as far as sexual preference. I do find it interesting, though, the connection here that we still have between Dwight and honestly, probably now his career, even though it was already at the cusp of being done, he was working out for the Warriors and there were other things going on there. But the distraction of him now, not just that maybe he had a sexual assault case, but that was a sexually assaulted and was involving another man in a a homosexual relationship, is going to be the bigger distraction that NBA teams will not tell you that they're not touching, but they're not touching because of guys like this. This guy is one of the more respected media members in the entire, world right now. Somebody who talks a lot about social issues, and just describing and reading the case, he was not able to read it without wailing his arms like Kermit the Frog. This is a league. And all professional sports leagues, by the way, when your talent and your distraction are kind of at a balance, it is hard to get signed to a team. Ask Tim Tebow, ask Colin Kaepernick, ask Michael Sam. When you get to a point to where, yes, you do maybe have an ability to play, but the distraction of the social issue or the just controversy or whatever you bring is not enough, or it doesn't clearly outweigh the positives there, that we're not going to usually take a risk on you. Tim Tebow, because of all the lights that he brought, was always, by the end of it, no one would bring him as a backup. Same with Colin Kaepernick and all the kneeling and all the controversy he brought there. Michael Sam was an SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He couldn't get, a tryout after he got drafted in the 7th round, and he just faded away because in the end, professional sports teams and organizations will say what they want out loud, but unless your talent clearly outweighs your distraction, they're not touching you. Dwight Howard is now in that category, and it looks like, by the way, he's not even guilty of what he's being accused of. It looks like it was a money grab, but the distraction is that everyone who's going to freak out on him because no one is still used to seeing in the NBA a gay guy.
Don't be gay. Don't be gay, Spark. Don't be gay.
And it is what it is. Dwight Howard, by the way, did not help himself. He went on Instagram Live and decided to discuss all this, and I thought this was interesting. Even his kind of response, because he's saying it's none of your business, but then he's going on Instagram Live and he's talking about it out loud, which kind of a hypocrisy there. But he went on Instagram Live maybe not thinking that people were going to be the first thing that they were brought up, which just makes him dumber than a box of rocks. I mean, if that's really what he thought, I don't know the entire context of why he went on IG Live, but if he was honestly surprised that the first thing people were going to ask him is about this sexual assault case and him admitting to being in a gay relationship, Dwight, is this your first day on Earth? I mean, good God. But here's Dwight speaking out on the rumors on Instagram. Here we go.
Y'all can stop with the nonsense. Worry about all this bull crap. Mind your business. Why they say you going on dates with dudes, bro? Why the hell do you or anybody care who the hell I spend my time with? That's the problem with y'all people. Y'all worried about who people spend their time with. Whatever I'm doing in my bedroom is my damn business. Whatever you doing in your bedroom is your damn business. That ain't for everybody. And everybody don't need to know. You ain't got to say anything about what you doing in your fucking house. It's your house. You ain't got to explain that to nobody, no matter what they say. They can say anything. Who gives two shits? Y'all too damn nosy, worried about what I'm doing in my bed. Hell, the people who know what's going on in my bed, they know what the hell going on with my bed and what the hell I do in it. That ain't for everybody on the internet. That ain't for no blogs. That ain't for no websites. I don't got to tell nobody where I put my wood at, since y'all want to get to it. That ain't nobody business where I put my shit at. Y'all just weird. If you want to know what people doing in their bedroom and who they messing with and sleeping with, you are weird. You're the weird one. Oh, shoot. Y'all heard about that, Dwight? They said Dwight was in a text messaging a guy. Nigga, who cares? Who cares who I was text messaging? You just mad because I want text messaging yo ugly ass. That's what it is. Worrying about the wrong stuff. Focus on you. Worrying about who in somebody's bed and what they doing in their own bedroom. It ain't your bed. You ain't gonna never get in my bed. So stop worrying about it. Worrying about, because I don't gotta deny it. I don't gotta talk about none of that crap. The shit didn't even happen. You worry about the wrong stuff. That's why it's called an accusation. Allegedly. Come on, man.
Well, apparently now hold on. The allegedly, the only thing that was alleged on this, I got to stop Dwight Howard talking, was the alleged that it was assault. He did admit out loud that he, was in a, consensual gay relationship with him and the guy Kitty was in a dress and the whole thing. But his overall point is that I'm doing what I want to do and I'm feeling super and thanks for asking. Leave me alone. Yes and no. Yes and no. Look, the fact is we are still in a world where the, athletes and especially in NBA and NFL in certain places, we're not used to hearing about it. I do think that it is also, he is a big name and it was a, salacious story and things like that. So celebrities and salacious stories do attract attention. So this whole idea that like, oh, why do y'all care about who's in someone's bedroom and all the other stuff, I think is completely hypocritical as far as, all celebrities love to use their status when it comes to getting them something they want, but then when negative attention comes their way, they suddenly want to pretend like, oh, why do you care about what I do? Why should anyone care when you ask to, get certain, whatever, concessions as far as being able to, get access to things in places that we don't? If we don't, it shouldn't matter then, and it shouldn't matter when things don't go your way, I guess is my point. But still, the bigger question here, and the one I want to ask, is that overall, and this was even in a Law and Order episode, I thought this was interesting. There's a Law and Order episode where apparently there's a player, an athlete that ends up, killing someone, but then he's also gay. But there's this big thing overall. But then at the end, one of the cops says something along the lines of, is it actually more acceptable to the public? Would they be better, able to handle the idea that he's a murderer versus that he's gay? And I'll tell you what, the Aaron Hernandez story, maybe it was based off the Aaron Hernandez story, because that was also, boy, everyone seemed to understand and kind of almost, empathize with Aaron Hernandez, the people that were a fan of him, that supported him till the end, that even though he killed some people and was just a sociopath, that was something they were able to accept. But once they had to find out that he might have been in a gay relationship and the dude came to him for jail and the whole thing, that's when people freaked out on him. Is it more acceptable for a sports fan, for your favorite athlete? Would you rather him be a murderer than be gay? And only you can answer that, and I can give my prediction of how much I think Joe Sixpan, if I was able to give them truth serum, sodium pentothal, and have them answer that question truthfully, as far as would you rather find out that your favorite athlete of all time was either a murderer, a violent person, or gay? Which one would you pick? I would say, most of them, if I'm being honest, from people I know and talk to, I'd guess 15%. I would say maybe 15% would actually be okay with the fact that he was homosexual. The idea is just tough for a lot of people to swallow. It is still something, pause, pun intended there for people that are listening, whatever. I wonder, overall, because the idea that he's going to have a problem now, most likely, ever getting another tryout. There are so many stars who have mistreated women. Let's take out the murdering part, I guess, but there are so many stars and athletes and basketball players and NFL players who have mistreated women. Even that seems to be more according to plan and more acceptable than him being with Kitty and this other dude. I mean, you could be like Magic or Tiger and just have unprotected sex with a bunch of thoughts and possibly bring home a disease to your wife. You could be like Ray Rice or Greg Hardy and openly, and we might have video evidence or other evidence to prove that you beat the brakes off of some girl and get a second chance. You can be like Lawrence Phillips, who once threw a woman down a flight of stairs and get multiple chances. Hell, you can be a murderer. You can be like OJ. OJ, look, I don't care. Are we finally over this? Can we finally just stop with the OJ didn't do it?
OJ did it.
And still to this day, when O.J. Simpson goes out in public, someone who we all know killed a couple people.
O.J. did it.
Boy, he has got everyone loving him and taking pictures, and people put it on Instagram. Google all of it. You can find a bunch of people like, hey, I'm here with O.J. Simpson. We have forgiven murder. We have forgiven domestic violence. We have forgiven cheating on your wives to the point of having multiple unprotected sexual partners and then having sex with your wife. Almost one time bringing HIV back to the home was forgiven by the social public. I wonder if Dwight Howard's going to be able to get past this. Not because there might be an assault, not because of anything else, but because of who he did it with and what sex he was. Would you rather personally have your favorite athlete find out for yourself the bigger disappointment? Would it be a bigger disappointment that he was violent, that he abused women, or that he murdered people, or that he was homosexual? You can answer that question. Only you can. Just wondering. All right, so I think I made my overall points today. I want to see LeBron James join the San Antonio Spurs and be Victor's mentor. I think we need to find out with Jason Tatum that he's good at everything, and that's awesome, but he's also great at nothing. What can he be great at to make that next, step? And that I think most people, if they're being 100%, have a harder time still in 2023 with a star athlete being gay than being violent towards women or actually being a murderer. All right? I think I made my points. Ready for some videos? Good.
You seen it? You seen it?
Don't look at me. Don't look at me, little puppet.
Have you seen this? Have you read about this?
I just got a few today. This is something I like to do at the end of the show. Funny, silly videos to kind of laugh at and kind of take a, little break from all the talk and just enjoy something here. Tricky Guy Sports. Search it on YouTube. This is the bonus feature. Right along with us and enjoy this. How about we do some, let's start off with this one, new boot goofing. Ready to see some new boot goofing? Anyone watch Reno 911? Remember Lieutenant Dangle when he got his new boots? Been on TikTok a lot. He had some new boots. He was showing off the camera. I'm just new boot goofing. These guys apparently were new boot goofing. Goofy asses didn't go so well.
What are you doing? Oh, wait, I think you're just new boot goofing. New boot goofing. New boot goofing.
Let's climb up that ladder. Damn. He was having such a good time, new boot goofing.
What are you doing? Oh, wait, I think you're just new boot goofing. New boot goofing. New boot goofing.
God dang shang what happened to Flip. I mean, that is just an absolute kapow there. Absolute kapow. One more time.
What are you doing? Oh, wait, I think you're just new boot goofing. New boot goofing. New boot goofing.
Let me climb up this ladder. And I'm dead. Oh, that crash is just brutal. Absolutely brutal. I got to see the crash a couple more times. Oh. Just new boot goofing. That's fun. Let me do this one. Okay, so speaking of just idiots here, I don't know who told him this was a good idea. This is some redneck, and he's got a big old water tower he wants to take down. I don't know who told him it was a good idea to do what he's about to do. He's lucky he's not crushed. This is idiocracy in its full form of where the idiot's able to continue to go through situations and things that he should never have been able to get through and survive in order to breed going down into the future. This is the living example. This is the living example of idiocracy. This guy should be underneath a pile of bricks right now. And instead, this dad is probably going to make about 9 more kids and make 9 more idiots who do 9 more things, almost probably more stupid than this. You ready? Here we go. Yeah, let's go right there with a sledgehammer on that
Run, dead.
Dead. Almost got hit there. Dang, it almost crushed me on my ding-dang-do. Yeah.
I ain't got a good brain.
Look at that building. Look at this idiot. And look what he's doing. This guy is hammering.
Run, Dad.
Run, Dad, run. Run, Dad. Lucky he's not dead.
Jesus.
Other idiots around him. I mean, no one really wanted to say, like, hey, bro, maybe don't do that. Maybe let's find another way to bring the building down. But he's fine. Everyone's fine. Can't wait till they all make more children.
I ain't got a good brain.
Idiocracy at its finest. Speaking of dads having a bad day, and maybe a neighbor who just doesn't like him. Because I gotta at least, this video's funny twofold. It's funny because what the son is doing to this poor dad's golf clubs. But what is even funnier to me is this neighbor who clearly doesn't like them. Because he does nothing other than sit back, eat some popcorn, and enjoy as this little son destroys what looks like a very expensive golf club. Look at this.
Hey, Dad, let me test out your new driver.
Neighbors loving this. Clearly, they do not. This is Hatfield and McCoy's.
Yeah, buddy. Fuck yeah. Dad's new driver. Get it. Fuck yeah. Smash it. Let's go.
Like I said, it's funny in two different parts. It's funny because once the father does find out, that son is going to be dead.
Honey, take a good picture, I'm dead!
But what's also even funnier to me is that whoever's filming this, and I'm pretty sure it's the neighbor, dislikes them so much, doesn't ever try to correct him, doesn't do anything to stop it. Just couldn't be happier to film it, laughing.
New driver.
Eating popcorn, loving it. Oh, this kid. Oh,
yeah, yeah, buddy. Fuck yeah. Dad's new driver. Get it. Fuck yeah, smash it. Let's go.
Clearly some Hatfield and McCoy-ish issues there. Maybe they can settle it on the golf course. Last one, I want to move on, and then I got to call it a day. You know, I'm a big fan of this as someone who, I'm trying to always better myself and improve. I found on TikTok, Instagram, there's a lot of people who will give you these inspirational, like David Goggins or, there's a Jordan Peterson. There's always these videos, these inspirational, that make you feel like, yeah, I can do it. Life is tough. But sometimes you just got to fight through the toughness and be stronger than that and blah, 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 blah. These videos are great and they're very inspirational. This guy, I think, was trying to do that. He's on a tightrope, literally. I don't speak whatever language he's speaking, and I think he's trying to be inspirational. Can somebody please translate and explain to me what exactly was going through this guy's rabbit-ass mind?
Bota na sua cabeça. As dificuldades da vida sempre vão insistir em te derrubar. Mas levante-se e siga em frente. A vida é uma corda bamba, amigo. Ou você mantém o equilíbrio, ou as quedas serão inevitáveis. Chama.
Okay, there are parts I understand. So there were parts where he's saying, like, life is difficult, and there are, some easy ones to translate there. But is he serious? I think at the end I caught a smile. Let me run this back one more time, because I think I caught a smile at the end. Does he know he's being weird? Is this satire?
As dificuldades da vida sempre vão insistir
Difficult life.
em te derrubar. Mas levante-se e siga em frente. A vida é uma corda bamba, amigo. Ou você mantém o equilíbrio, ou as quedas serão inevitáveis. Chama.
It's the flames. See, right there at the end, I want to go right back. So right at the end of this, you see a little bit of a smirk. Let me see if I can get to it. Right there. Okay, right here, you can kind of see it blurry, but there's a little bit of a smirk to where, does he know that this is a joke? Does he understand that he's being silly? If not, I love it. I don't know what the hell he's preaching. I'm for it, though. When life is tough, stand on a tightrope and have people, you might get hit with a boot to the head. You might get hit with a cabinet while you're trying to tightrope or kick flames in the air. But you can do it, man. You can do it. I guess. We'll leave on that, because I got to leave. You can do it, man. You can do it. See you later.